You're going to put godlike expectations on people. Now you got married and now you expect that man to be God to you. Now you expect that woman to be God to you. See, that's why God needs to be in your relationship. Do you know why it's important to have a 3/4 relationship, you, your spouse, and God? Because God is the only one that can sustain it. There are certain expectations in my marriage that neither one of us can meet. There's expectations that I need to meet. There's responsibilities that I have. There's responsibilities my wife have, and there's responsibility God has. When you don't have God in your relationship, now you're putting what only God can do on them. That's why I tell my wife, me and my wife, we don't think about tomorrow. That's that's God's responsibility. All I'm responsible now is making sure that I'm husbandly today and you're wifely today. If we think about tomorrow, we start getting into God's business. When we start thinking about stuff that we can't control, we start getting into God's business. Let God handle his business. Y'all handle y'all's business. That's why it's a 3/4 partnership. We're in business with God. We are in a marriage with God. There are certain responsibilities that he holds that I can never do and that she can never do. But the moment I begin to say, God, we don't need you for this, or I'm not going to allow you into this, and then now I get her into a performance base where now her performance determines my performance. You see what I'm saying? That's why you got to let God be God and y'all be y'all. Let God be God. You be the husband. You be the wife. You be the wife. He be the husband, and he be God. Because if not, you're going to have your wife carrying all these unnecessary burdens that only God can hold. Because you got these false expectations of what a wife is. Now your expectation of a wife is a person who's overly sexual. And all of a sudden now she has to be performance-based. No. My wife should only perform. Her performance should be based upon how I manage my position. How I manage my position will dictate her performance. That's why her performance can't be based upon the lacklusterness that I have in my position. If I hold my position as a husband, right, it would naturally make her want to blossom as a wife. But if I hold my position and hold what's rightfully hers, and she can't receive it unless she performs, then that's going to be an unnecessary burden for her. So even when she requires me or asks me to do certain things that I may not want, I can pull from God to do it. If you don't got God in your relationship gonna be all over the place. Okay? Never expect something from someone that you love that you first don't expect from yourself. Don't expect nothing from your daughter, from your son, from your wife, from your mama, from your daddy, from your cousin, from the nuke, from little Susu. Don't expect nothing from them if you don't expect it from yourself. How can you going to expect your wife to be pure and you ain't pure? Expecting your husband to be pure, but you ain't pure. Expecting them to, listen, that's why I tell men and women, listen to me clearly. Don't expect a man to hold his loins if you can't hold your emotions. Don't expect your wife to hold her emotions if you can't hold your loins. They're supposed to be dual holdings. And the only way you can hold your emotions, the only way you can hold your loins, fellas, is through being held by God. Okay? And so what happens is you got these expectations. Well, I don't want you to be all emotionally uncontrollable, but you can't control. Your lack of control in this area is causing her to be emotional, and your emotional is leading him to being lacking control, and you lacking control and you being over emotional is because y'all not connected to God. Never expect something from someone that you love that you first don't expect from yourself. And secondly, don't expect something from someone that God doesn't even expect from them, because when you do, you will put too much pressure on them. Stop expecting them to meet your purpose when they weren't even supposed to meet your purpose. We be having expectations on people that God don't even expect from them. Parents be expecting stuff from their children, and God don't even expect that from them. God don't even want them to be a doctor, but you expecting them to be a doctor. God ain't even expecting them to be a lawyer, but you expecting them to be a lawyer. You see what I'm saying? Expecting your wife to do X, Y, and Z, and God didn't even call her to do that. Expecting your husband to do unrealistic expectations beyond his ability, and God don't even expect him to do that. You got to operate at the level of God's expectation of them. If God doesn't expect it from them, you should expect it from him. That's why you got to have biblical, realistic expectations so that you don't go into marriage expecting a man to buy you a Lambo truck and a Bugatti car, and he just got into his career. Expecting that woman to throw it back, and she just got, and she and she just learned one move. You expect her to have a repertoire of 10 moves, and she just learned the first one. You can't go into a marriage expecting your wife to be a porn star. You can't go into a marriage expecting your husband to be an all-star. As you go in those expectations, your wife can be like, I can't meet that expectation, and she burns out. And your man's like, I'm giving you the best that I can. He burns out. That you're right. There's a deeper issue. It's called idolatry. And it's called insecurities. Those two things, idolatry and insecurities.